Now, without Africa, listen carefully, Europe would struggle to survive. Yet psychologically, miseducated Africans live in the delusion that our survival lies in Europe or everywhere except Africa. There has been an addiction from Europe, or for Europe, from used clothing. You come to my village, Sekendi, you see that the thing that they sell most is what? Used clothing, to second-hand ideologies, concepts, and philosophies. You know, sometimes I just get interested whenever they are having, Republicans are meeting in America. Then one of the political parties will send a delegation to go and do what? Conservatives are meeting in England. They will send a delegation to go and do what? Hand me down ideas. The Labour Party is meeting. Then one party in Ghana will say, oh, who came to colonize you? I could go on and on about this. But let us ask ourselves. We import what do you call it? Currently, Africa has no need for any European natural resource. We don't need any natural resource from Europe. And that is a truism. However, we import all sorts of items. Mercedes-Benzes, Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, V8s, corned beef, wine, sardines, toys, bleaching creams, processed milk and other consumer items, and have our secret offshore or Swiss banks. Now evaluate all the things we import and ask yourself the question, which one adds to the human worth of the African? All the things we import. What does it add to you as a human being, as an African human being? You know? Now, we say we want to build 100,000 units of houses. We don't have a ceramic thing that gives us, just as in Nkrumah's time we had it. We have to import. So if somebody comes and says, I'll build the houses for you at such a rate, you are creating jobs for the person. He's going to send his toilet, the water closets from his country down to you. Who is gaining? His people are being employed. You are going to pay him. Nothing is free. I remember, if those of you are old enough, if some of you have gray hairs, you remember that there was a time that Ghana became riddled with the term Isenko, essential commodities. What were they? Have you ever thought about them? Canned milk, sardine, corned beef, sugar, essential for an African's welfare. Now you see that there is something wrong with our heads. So I want to set the ball in a way that the two gentlemen here are going to mess your minds up. In October 2003, one of the most conservative think tanks in America, called the Heritage Foundation in America, they made a statement that says, with its vast natural and mineral resources, Africa remains strategically important to the West, as it has been for hundreds of years, and its geostrategic significance is likely to rise in the 21st century. Another man called George Rich, when he was talking to George Perkins, a consultant has come, told Perkins, he says, if you ever intend to have children and want them to live a prosperous life, you damn well better make sure we control the African continent. This is an American consultant. So when the consultants are, oh, we've got a consultant, we are working with him and so on. He's not working for you. He's working for his own interests. And he will use you the way that his grandchildren will benefit from the way he's using you. So we have these things. Now, if you look at it, the gold, we act as if gold will never end. Manganese we are endowed with all these things. It's unlimited. That's the way we act and behave. Bauxite, diamond, they will be there forever. The oil, now that we've discovered oil, we'll chop oil, exhaustible. If you take the state interest in agriculture, it is in certain crops that are tied to Europe. And what do we call them? Cash crops. So plantain is not for cash. But banana is not for cash. Cassava is not for cash. Cocoa, the one you send over there. It's terrible. And almost, I know that somebody in health is coming, almost all the health needs of the citizens of the various African countries are virtually imported from outside the continent. Ask yourself, if you cannot heal yourself, you think your enemy will come and heal you? Those people, they are not your friends. Oh. If you can't heal yourself, now what thankful numbers do? They would even give you things to kill you faster than you are. Now, the materials we use for shelter is imported, defense hardware is imported, and even the guns and the bullets we use to kill ourselves, even that one, we import them. Has there ever been a cost-benefit analysis of the export of natural resources and land degradation on community livelihood? We haven't. So we are in a tough situation, you know, and some of this was brought up by this lady, Dr. Arikana Chihombori, Wow. As soon as she came out and spoke about France and what France is doing, remember the AU ambassador to the UN, as soon as she came and talked, the AU itself forced her out. How dare you? That mentality. And if you look at Ghana, you see that the economic model in which the mass of Africans eke their daily living is referred to as informal. That's the informal economy. Then the formal economy is the one that fits into the models and concepts that Europe has designed. It's interesting. But I just want to provoke thoughts. Now, a man that I admire said something. He says that Africa, or the continent, has things that other people want, think they can do without, and don't want to pay for it. And so these kind of thoughts went on, go on, and you wonder, we seem to have lost our way. We seem to have lost our independence. So I was quite surprised when on the 5th of December, 2017, I heard Ghana's president openly tell Emmanuel Jean-Michel Frédéric Macron that Africans want to chart a path on how we can develop our countries ourselves. I said, eh? I couldn't believe my ears. Unbelievable. And then he went on. Go and listen to that speech, a very, very interesting speech. Says he wants the energy and dynamism of the youth working in our country, in our country, and that their hopes and opportunities should lie in Africa. That is completely turning over possibilities. It takes us back to 1957 again, just the eve of independence. The black man is capable of managing his own affairs. So, what? And he told Macron, in face of the white man, something you don't do. I wish he had done it to us Africans. He spoke about the mindset, the need to get rid of the mindset of dependency and replace it with the mindset that we can do it. Others have done it, and we can also do it. Very Gaviite. And he also revived the phrase, a phrase that, unless you are old enough, some of us talk about it, the phrase African personality. African personality. The Blydens and so on used to talk about this. But for one reason or the other, the Ghanaian or the African has become afraid of his own personality. You know? And he talked about the same thing, the black star shining, when he was in Concordia in February 2019. I said, hey, maybe, just maybe, we have an African in a leadership position who wants to find a solution to the African paradox. Yet it's Hikado. And so it comes in. Unbelievable. Ask him, is he serious? Well, I believe he's serious. That's why we are here. Is it mere talk or action? You're going to listen to them. You know? Are we going to learn this afternoon from the discussants present about the road to change our mindsets from consumers to producers of our own consumables and enter the global competition? In the 1950s, when Ghana was struggling to be independent, the word used against Nkrumah, or some of the things, when how can you want to be independent when you cannot manufacture common matches? What I'm telling you is literally true. So the first thing Nkrumah did before independence was to have a feasibility study done, and that ended us up with the Kede March factory in 1956. It had its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, at one time I think that you needed one whole box before you can light one matchstick. But at the end of the day, we got to the point that Ghana was exporting matches to Sri Lanka, Sierra Leone, Tanganyika, that before Tanzania, and another place, besides us consuming Ghanaian matches. So we did it. We did it to show that we can still do it. But the mindset then was that we can do it. Then we're going to listen to that. Now, if you look at now, China is also coming. And the other day, ordered all the African leaders to go and march in China. They did. You saw them on TV. Now, in order to be able to go forward, I hope the discussants are going to tell us that we must wipe from our eyes all delusions of Ghana if we are to see clearly our real way to Ghana beyond aid. So that's why we are here this afternoon. And fortunately, there's a man that I admire, Dr. Dijemfi. He's the president of the AGI, Association of Ghana Industries, so AGI, sorry. And he is in charge, looks after, or created Dampon Healthcare. Some of you who are here, if you are fortunate, may have been working at the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research. It is there with a lot of things they've invented. What have they got to do with industry? Zero. They are just there. But at one time, I can't remember that, when President Kufuor was on, they brought people he went to Indonesia and brought things that they've done with oil palm, lipstick, this, that they had done. And Ghanaians were amazed. I was sitting with a friend of mine from the Center for Science and Industrial Research. He says, Nana, we have all these things lying there. Nobody comes for them or uses them. We have more. But besides that, I know of Ghanaians who went to those areas to teach them how to plant oil palm in the proper way. I went on a Pakistani ship recently, and when I met the captain, one thing that he said that almost made me cry. Quietly, chiefs don't cry. But he says, sir, we built these ships. When are we going to build our ships? Is the Navy going to rely on other ships? When I was young, Ghanaians went to, what's the name of the place? To Sweden and Norway to learn shipbuilding. Some of them are almost dead now. They are going to buy ships. So we can do it.